किसी हॉल में आके लाइव टेलीकास्ट ड्राइवर को बोल के सुबह 8 बजे आने के बुलाऊँ। लाइव टेलीकास्ट आप घर से देखते हैं, यहाँ से क्या करना है? हाँ, लाइव यहाँ से देख सकते हैं। यहाँ उनके 500 गेस्ट आ रहे हैं। एक बार पूछकर आप तो ये 500 आ रहे हैं बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट। अच्छा, जो मैंने पूछ लिया आने तो फिर पालक को जाता है राष्ट्रपति को आप तो राष्ट्रपति वहाँ पे हैं ना?
I request Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, and Ms. Rachna Srivastava, Vice President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly bring Honorable Chief Justice of India, along with Honorable Chief Justice of India Designate. I also request Mr. R. Venkataramani, Learned Attorney General for India, to kindly take his seat. I request Mr. Rajneesh Kumar Singh, Advocate, to come forward and present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable Chief Justice of India. I request Mr. Sushil Kumar Tomar, Joint Treasurer, Supreme Court Bar Association, to present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable the Chief Justice of India. I also request Mr. Rashid Farooq, Member, Supreme Court Bar Association, to come forward and present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable the Chief Justice of India. I request Mr. Ajay Agrawal, Additional Advocate General for State of UP, to kindly present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Honorable the Chief Justice of India Designate. I request Mr. Mukesh Kumar Singh, Member Executive Supreme Court Bar Association, to present a bouquet of flowers to Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Honorable the Chief Justice of India Designate. I request Ms. Rachna Gandhi, Member Executive, Supreme Court Bar Association, to present a bouquet of flowers to Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India. I request Ms. Nandini Gupta, Member Executive, Supreme Court Bar Association, to present a bouquet of flowers to Mrs. Asha Khanna, wife of Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable the Chief Justice of India. I request Ms. Rachna Shrivastava, Vice President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly give her welcome address.
Thank you, Vikrant. Namaskar, and a very good afternoon to you all. Honorable Justice Sanjiv Khanna, the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai, the Chief Justice Designate, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, former Judges of the Supreme Court, Shri R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Shri Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India, Shri Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Vikrant Yadav, Honorary Secretary, SCBA, on the dais, Additional Solicitor Generals of India, the silent strength of Justice Khanna, Mrs. Asha Khanna, son Shri Uday Khanna, Advocate, daughter-in-law, Lieutenant Commander Tavishi Singh, serving in Navy. We are proud of you. The whole country is proud of you. Daughter, Ms. Parul Khanna, son-in-law, Shri Ravish Ori, and other family members, Shri Manan Kumar Mishra, Chairman Bar Council of India, Shri Apurv Sharma, Vice Chairman, BCI, senior advocates, office bearers, and members of the Executive Committee of SCBA, President Shri Vipin Nair, Shri Amit Sharma, Vice President, Nikhil Jain, Secretary and other office bearers, and members of the Executive Committee of SCORA, Learned Secretary General and other registrars of the Supreme Court of India, President Secretaries and office bearers of the Executive Committee of various bar associations, my colleagues at the bar, my junior colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you all on behalf of the entire Executive Committee of SCBA. Today we gather with a mix of celebration and sorrow, a bittersweet confluence of emotions as we bid farewell to a distinguished jurist, a luminary of Indian judiciary, Justice Sanjiv Khanna, as he prepares to embark upon the next chapter of his distinguished career. But before I reflect upon and celebrate the illustrious journey of Justice Sanjiv Khanna, I would like to congratulate Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai, the Chief Justice of India Designate, on behalf of the members of the Supreme Court Bar Association. Sir, tomorrow you will assume the new mantle, and we wish you all the very best for a successful tenure. So tomorrow, after you assume the new mantle, we request you to celebrate with us. The Indian tradition of celebration starts with distribution of gifts. Sir, tomorrow, after you assume the new mantle, we request you and to celebrate with us, and following the modern trend to demand a gift of one's own choice, I request Justice Gawai for a gift for the members of the bar. A gift by way of an announcement that no more sequencing of cases in any court, and the cases will be taken up as per the final cause list, which can be revised and issued an evening before the day of hearing. I am sure that the Chief Justice Designate will ensure this gift for all of us. Sir, our generation has shattered many glass ceilings, yet many are still intact. I request Honorable CJI Designate and other collegium members to give more wings to my sisters to fly high, to fill up the vacancies in various high courts across the country. Moving on to celebrate the glorious journey of the Chief Justice Sanjiv Khanna, who has left an indelible mark on the Indian judiciary through his wisdom, integrity, and unwavering commitment to justice. Justice Khanna's journey in the legal field spans decades of excellence. Born into a family with a rich legal legacy, his father, late Justice Devraj Khanna, served on the bench of the Delhi High Court. On a personal note, I may share a little known fact which I have not shared with even Justice Khanna, that his late father, Justice D.R. Khanna, and my father, late Justice R.C. Srivastava, shared arbitration tribunal on many occasions, and I had privilege to receive his blessings and affection. Justice Khanna initially faced parental expectation to become a chartered accountant, as they believed a legal career would be challenging. However, Justice Khanna, inspired by his uncle, late Justice H.R. Khanna, a legendary judge of the Supreme Court, decided to pursue law. Justice Khanna carried that mantle forward with dignity and distinction. A graduate from Delhi University, he embarked on his legal practice in 1983, initially in the District Court at T. Hazari and later in the Delhi High Court. He quickly earned a reputation for his clarity of thought, ethical grounding, and deep understanding of law. Justice Khanna practiced taxation, arbitration, commercial law, environmental law, medical negligence law, and company law in the Delhi High Court. He represented the Delhi government as an additional public prosecutor in criminal law matters. He was also a senior standing counsel for the Income Tax Department for Delhi for about 7 years. In 2004, he was appointed as Delhi Standing Counsel for Civil Law Matters. On 25th June 2005, he was appointed as additional judge of the Delhi High Court and became a permanent judge on 20th February 2006. At the Delhi High Court, Justice Khanna was associated with Delhi Judicial Academy, the Delhi International Arbitration Center, and the District Court Mediation Centers. His elevation as a permanent judge of the Delhi High Court in 2005 marked the beginning of a judicial career that would exemplify balance, compassion, and scholarship. Whether dealing with matters of civil liberties, administrative law, or complex commercial disputes, Justice Khanna's courtroom remained a place where reasoned argument found patient listening and equitable justice. He was elevated to the Supreme Court of India in January 2019. He brought to the Apex Court not just his judicial experience, but also a profound understanding of legal philosophy and an open mind. During his tenure at the Supreme Court, Justice Khanna contributed significantly to the evolution of jurisprudence in multiple domains, including criminal law, constitutional interpretation, and human rights. One of the most notable aspects of Justice Khanna's legacy is his ability to blend legal rigor with compassion. He understood that behind every file and every legal brief lies a human story, often one of a struggle or injustice. He treated every case with the seriousness it deserved, no matter how routine or complex it appeared. This rare ability to connect with the letter of the law and with the spirit of justice is what set him apart. Justice Khanna has always been a strong voice for judicial independence and integrity. In a time when institutional trust is constantly being tested, his presence on the bench has been a reassuring reminder of what the judiciary stands for: fairness, impartiality, and courage in the face of adversity. His quiet dignity, impeccable conduct, and unshakable ethical standards have been an inspiration to all. His judgments often reveal his scholarly temperament. Justice Khanna is known for engaging deeply with legal precedents and constitutional principles. He has never shied away from complex or contentious issues. His commitment to constitutional morality and his nuanced understanding of the law have enriched the corpus of the Indian jurisprudence. His role in several key judgments, some historic, some quietly impactful, will be remembered and studied for years to come. While he never sought the limelight, his work spoke volumes. His participation in the constitutional bench matters, his reasoned dissents and concurrences, and his firm stand on procedural justice have all played a role in shaping the legal discourse of our country. In Association for Democratic Reforms and Election Commission of India, Justice Khanna unanimously rejected ADIA's plea seeking 100% VVPAT verification of votes cast on electronic voting machines. Authoring the leading opinion, Justice Khanna wrote that he wished to put on record all safeguards adopted by the ECI to ensure free and fair elections. While putting down the feature of EVMs, he stated that the current system ensures quick, error-free, and mischief-free counting of votes. In 2024, a 5-bench declared the electoral bond scheme unconstitutional. Justice Khanna wrote a concurring opinion stating that the right to privacy of donors does not arise if a donation is made through a banking channel. Their identity is asymmetrically known to the person and the officers of the bank from where the bond is purchased. He also held that retribution, victimization, and retaliation against donors are wrongs, but there cannot be a justification for the scheme which violates voters' collective right to information. Justice Khanna authored a concurring opinion in a Constitutional Bench decision that upheld the validity of abrogation of Article 370. He found that Article 370 of the Constitution of India was a feature asymmetric federalism and not an indication of sovereignty, and that its abrogation does not negate the federal structure. In Shilpa Sailesh versus Varun Srinivasan, Justice Khanna authored the majority opinion which held that the Supreme Court has the power to directly grant divorce under Article 142 of the Constitution. Justice Khanna reasoned that the Supreme Court can grant divorce under the grounds of irretrievable breakdown of marriage to grant complete justice. In revising fee scale for arbitrators' decision in 2022, Justice Khanna wrote a dissenting opinion on the limited point that in the absence of an arbitration agreement, the arbitral tribunal is entitled to fix a reasonable fee. Justice Khanna authored the majority opinion in CPIO Supreme Court versus Subhash Chandra Agrawal, a Constitutional Bench judgment, popularly known as RTI judgment, where the 5-judge bench had to decide if subjecting the office of Chief Justice to RTI request curtail the independence of the judiciary. It was held that judicial independence does not necessarily oppose the right to information. Whether or not the OCJ should fulfill RTI request must be decided on a case-by-case basis. The judgment also concluded that the court's chief public information officer must decide if the disclosure is in the larger public interest by weighing it against the right to privacy of judges. Justice Khanna's contribution also extends beyond the courtroom. His humility and accessibility have made him one of the most respected figures in the legal community. Despite his many achievements, he has remained grounded, always putting the institution and the rule of law above personal recognition. Justice Khanna's career is also a testimony to judicial resilience. In a legal landscape that is ever evolving and increasingly demanding, he remained consistent in his principles, calm in his demeanor, and precise in his decisions. He listened more than he spoke. But when he did speak, whether in court or through written words, he brought clarity, balance, and a depth of understanding that is rare. Justice Khanna always considered his uncle an ideal role model and keenly followed his work. I've learned Justice Khanna has kept all of Justice H.R. Khanna's judgments, notes, and registrars in safe custody with him. Today, as we bid farewell to Justice Khanna, we do so with immense gratitude and respect. We know that his formal role on the bench may be concluding, but his influence will endure. His judgments will continue to guide future generations of lawyers and judges. His commitment to justice will remain a benchmark for what we all aspire in public life. To Justice Khanna, we say thank you for your service. Thank you for your integrity. Thank you for standing for what is just, fair, and constitutional. May the next chapter of your life be as fulfilling and impactful as your judicial career. We hope that you will continue to contribute to the legal field, perhaps through writing, mentoring, or public service. Your wisdom and experience are too valuable to remain idle. On behalf of the entire legal fraternity, I extend to you our heartfelt best wishes for good health, happiness, and continued purpose. May your days ahead be filled with peace, reflection, and the satisfaction of having served the highest ideals of justice. Thank you, Justice Khanna, for everything.
I now request Mr. Kapil Sibal, President, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly address the August gathering.
Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai, Chief Justice Designate, the Supreme Court of India, judges of the Supreme Court, judges of High Courts, judges who are present here, who are retired judges of the Supreme Court, my good friend, the Attorney General, Mr. Venkatramani, Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, senior advocates of the Supreme Court of India present here, office bearers of the Supreme Court Bar Association, office bearers of the Advocates on Record Association, all other members of the bar gathered here today. It is a great honor to pay tribute to you, Justice Sanjiv Khanna, and to thank you for your tireless service to the cause of justice in your 2 decades on the bench. I have practiced before you in the High Court as well as this court, but your commitment to the cause of justice has always been unwavering. But before I move further, I just want to mention what Ratna said about Justice B.R. Gavai. She sought a gift, but I think we must recognize the fact that this nation has gifted Justice B.R. Gavai to us. I don't think that the Supreme Court of India could have got a better gift. And gift is a voluntary dispensation, Ratna. Chief Justice, you're a chip of the old block. You know, I was practicing in this court and I was there in ADM Jabalpur, and I saw when Justice H.R. Khanna gave his dissent. And we knew what was going to happen. That's the legacy that is part of your tradition. That's the legacy that you have honored in the 20 years you've been on the bench. The echoes of that judgment reverberated throughout the country and reverberate in our hearts even today. And the majority opinion has been buried and forgotten. Thank God that this happened, because it gave a new beacon of light to the members of the bar and the members of the judiciary as they dealt with very complex issues in times to come. You have steered this court with circumspection and with uncanny sagacity. We will remember you for steering the ship in turbulent times and anchoring it for its voyage to be carried forward by your successor, the baton has been handed over to Justice Gawai. And I know that when the ship is anchored and it sails, he will be dealing with the turbulence with as much sagacity as Chief Justice Khanna. I want to take a few moments to reflect on our expectations from the Supreme Court and from our judges. We, the people of India, gave ourselves this constitution symbolizing the aspirations of future generations at a time when there were currents and cross currents that were to be addressed for the nation to come to life. The country needed a constitution that was destined to manage the concerns of diverse characteristics of its diverse population. It is fundamental to remember that the grant of the status of citizenship to all on the basis of their birth was a singularly secular act which symbolizes what India stood for. People of different racial characteristics, representing multifarious castes of different faiths, practicing different religions with diverse racial characteristics, where issues of untouchability had still not been effaced from our social structure, were given equal status as citizens with the right to be treated equally. Equality without liberty would have been an empty promise, and therefore fundamental to the life of every citizen was the commitment of the state to protect his or her liberty. The court is the final arbiter to decide, in the context of laws framed, how to protect citizens' liberty and their right to equality. However, without fraternity, this country could not have survived. That is why the preamble of the Constitution says what it says and embraces a Republican form of government. You have right through your career as a judge sought to embody the ideals of our Constitution. You have strived to balance all interests in the highest traditions of judgeship. Your judgments have embraced concepts of secularism, protected the rights of minorities, balancing state interests with the fundamental rights conferred on our citizens. You have been fearless in ensuring the accountability of those who transgress the laws. You have been a strong, independent judge of unquestionable integrity. Your incisive and pointed questions always cut straight to the heart of a case, demonstrating your meticulous preparation in each and every case. Your perspicacity kept us always on our toes. You had the uncanny ability, honed by your experience on the bench and years of practice, to anticipate and foil any attempt by counsel to obfuscate the issues for a favorable outcome. Your courtroom has been a place where all persons, regardless of background or identity, believed that they would be judged only by the strength of their case. You always encouraged young lawyers to throw their hats into the ring and argue cases themselves. You had an intuitive sense of what is just a rare quality. This haloed institution was enriched by your contributions on the bench. While many judges aspire to accomplish such a sense of fairness in their courtrooms, very few actually achieve this. You have been one of those rare judges. In your tenure as Chief Justice of India, you did not shy away from hearing cases that raise important constitutional questions, even when these cases were at the center of political maelstorms. You passed every timely and balanced orders. You passed timely and balanced orders, restoring the faith of the people in justice and reaffirming constitutionally mediated forms of discourse. This has been critical in cases that touch on freedom of religion, which regretfully is today marked by polarizing and often polemic forms of political discourse. Your approach has been one of restraint, but never indifference. Through your measured and firmly drawn lines, you have restored the supremacy of the Constitution and the values of equality, fraternity, and liberty. Your judgments are marked by clarity, precision, and an unwavering commitment to fairness. Your approach reflects a deep allegiance to the text of the law, while also recognizing that fidelity to constitutional values demands a pragmatic and humane lens, especially in the face of today's complex, plural realities. I wish to refer to some of the judgments that you have rendered in this context, and I have referred to some of those. I don't want to go through all of them. But just one or two, the voters' right to know. This is an association for democratic reforms, and access to information is far too important in a democratic setup so as to curtail and deny essential information on the pretext of privacy and the desire to check the flow of unaccounted money to political parties. You have, in the case of Central Public Information Officer, said judicial independence and accountability go hand in hand, as accountability ensures and is a facet of judicial independence. There are several other judgments which are landmarks and will be remembered by all of us in the years to come. But finally, in what can be regarded as one of the most eloquent expositions of the court's identity, responsibility, and character in recent years is Vishal Tiwari versus Union of India. You delivered a short but powerful order that is sure to inspire deep respect and confidence in the judiciary. In this order, after observing that courts are not as fragile as flowers to wither and wilt under an onslaught of polemical statements, you held, quote, every commission of contempt need not erupt in an indignant committal or levy of punishment, however deserving it may actually be. It is so because judges are judicious, their valor non-violent, and their wisdom springs into action when played upon by a volley of values, the least of which is personal protection. Courts believe in values like free press, fair trial, judicial fearlessness, and community confidence. Traits that ran through your blood while you were on the bench for 20 long years. This nation, in my belief, is at the crossroads wherein we need judges who protect rights of citizens, further the cause of equality, and defend the security of the state being destabilized by elements who do not wish India to be the great power that it is destined to be. Institutional atrophy and the rise of a culture of dominance, consequently leading to societal insecurity and issues relating to economic aggrandizement, are matters that the court will have to deal with in the years to come. The 33 judges of this court, the brave hearts who must display the courage and integrity, must meet such challenges consistent with the principles of those who hoped that our tryst with destiny will make this nation not only a great political and economic power, but a nation in which every citizen cherishes the values of tolerance, of fraternity, of oneness, and of the ability to express his or her views. And finally, to be heard and not be silenced by the might of the mighty and the whims of those who are intolerant. That is the hope from this court. And in your contributions to the bench, you have displayed that there are still great judges in this court who will not let us down. We wish you calm waters and beautiful skies as you sail off on the next leg of your journey in the service of our country. May you find joy and fulfillment in all you do. And may Asha, your wife, and the family get more time with you, which is necessary. Thank you very much. May I, sir, with your permission, I have penned a few words for you, which is part of my tradition. You are one of a kind. Your one of a kind showed us that justice is not blind. In the Judges' Hall of Fame, there always will be a frame of chosen upright judges who are part of memory lane. You oft said just 1 minute, but thought through when you spoke, stood your ground when it mattered most. That is what gave us hope. The Constitution and the laws were safe in your tenure. You always knew that certain ailments had no instant cure. Pilot us in difficult times when faith's under attack, miscreants who derailed the course, you brought them back on track. The blood and sweat of millions were our constitutional gift. You steadfastly held on to it, not let it go adrift. Restoring public confidence, that is your noblest deed. With heavy hearts, we say goodbye. The likes of you we need.
I request Mr. R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, to kindly address on this occasion.
I wish I could compete with Mr. Kapil Sibal, and if you could have tried it by penning a few words sitting there, listening to his oration. But then, both by age and his gray hair, I don't think I can do it today evening. But I know that what he meant and shared with us about this court and Chief Justice Khanna all came from his heart. And talking about gifts, I think from his practice equality, I should say that every judge of the court who comes here is a gift to us. Our institutions of justice, high courts and more particularly the Supreme Court, are like a valley of flowers. The colors, the fragrance, and the variety of flowers are a challenge to our ability to pick or choose for adoration. So also it's a matter of great pride that the Supreme Court of India, unlike any other apex court, is at any point of time, verily, a mirror unto the diversity feature of a nation. The diversity of the court is its veritable strength. The jostling and exchange of views on the benches and the churning of the outcomes tell us unique stories of doing justice. So how do we carefully craft our views about one honorable judge or the other and their invaluable contributions to administration of justice? These contributions are not made only in headlines making opinions, but also through matters that fill the courtrooms every day. Opinions in the rare and defining cases come to be formed as one goes through the grinding mills of every day and gets chiseled through layers of engagements, both big and small, in the court. We no longer need another ADM Jabalpur. One lone voice of Justice H.R. Khanna is good forever for the cause of liberty. All judgments on liberty being penned today are many of footnotes to ADM Jabalpur. Liberty in the midst of social diversity and to strengthen the great social responsibility. Chief Justice Khanna laid clear notes on this when he kept at bay the petitions calling into question the insertion of secularism in the preamble, as also when registration of new suits against Place of Worship Act was stopped, and finally, when he began hearing the Waqf amendment cases. I say so regardless of the views one may hold on these matters. Well, what the court may do in the final analysis may stand on many norms of equality and equal regard. That will be a difference from what the court needs to do at any given point. Chief Justice Khanna will duly be credited with an unquestionable acknowledgement that he has held the scales of justice high, which is what ADM Jabalpur is about. In contemporary times, ADM Jabalpur is a daily dose of liberty talk. As the Chief Justice, he has shown how to be a sailor who knows the way. Neither did he fly too high, nor did he need to search too hard. His innate sense of what act of balancing would keep intact institutional integrity has guided him, and his contribution, besides not being too small by any reckoning, is a culmination of his long periods of judicial engagement. A short period as a Chief Justice, but a great chapter in the annals of the court. Today I am faced with another question. How do I truly talk about Honorable Chief Justice Sanjiv Khanna without entering into any comparisons, and comparisons being an indispensable part of assessment? I wish to speak about the major trends of views that can be gathered, gleaned from a multitude of opinions rendered by him, and not only by counting the hundreds of judgments and multitude of opinions rendered by him, which he delivered as judge of the Delhi High Court, but also by gathering the opinions in virtually every branch of law. He has left his footprints in the first-time cases, such as the interplay between the public interest in the right to privacy and the public interest in the right to information. In penning 3 opinions, while the Delhi High Court, the Chief Justice, articulating the principles laid down by this court in Rajgopal, the state of Andhra Pradesh, looked at how the former will yield to the later. The question of balancing 2 competing public interests, both traceable to constitutional rights, is not only a challenge but problematic. Every superior court grapples with these issues. In the 2009 opinion of the Right to Information Act, Chief Justice Khanna elegantly construed Section 8 of the Act to invite our close attention to the cognitive processes involved in the act of balancing. While concurring with the majority view on the unconstitutionality of the electoral bonds, Chief Justice invoked the proportionality test again involving the balancing of rights, the harm to voters' rights and the donor privacy. Not surprising, in the Subhash Chandra Agarwal's case involving the issue of Chief Justice of India under the Right to Information Act, Justice Khanna joined the majority view. The statement that transparency and scrutiny are veritable instruments to secure accountability will stay with all of us and inform us to continue to deal with matters of judicial independence and accountability with dignity and maturity. In Amish Devgan case, in dealing with the clash between the right to speech under Article 19 and the right to decline to hear under Article 21, the bench comprising the Chief Justice, Justice Kanvilkar, drew the fine and important distinction between what could be ethically wrong in voicing false or deceptive dissents against government policy, but lacking penal elements. By now, Puttaswamy judgments have captured all these ideas. Maintaining and supporting the integrity of institutional processes, particularly in the field of election, are fundamental to democracy. His views on the institutional integrity is best seen in his clear rejection of the petition filed by the Association of Democratic Reform seeking 100% verification through voter-verified paper audit trail system. This view, I think, is also embedded in a statement in Lakshmi Singh v. Rekha Singh about the secrecy of voting as an adjunct to purity of elections. In the same vein, in the Franklin Templeton Mutual Funds case, the Chief Justice joined the bench in upholding the validity of the e-voting process for winding up mutual fund schemes. It is difficult to talk about the other too many finely woven strands with judicial contributions in a brief evening farewell. If we broadly notice some strong instances of how the justice doing mind of the Chief Justice molded the law to bring solace to those in conflict through law. The doctrine of fault and blame may sit pretty well in matters of contracts, torts, or other obligations, but why allow needless room for them in matrimonial rifts? In Shilpa Shaila's case, rightly did the Chief Justice reframed the painless way of doing matrimonial justice by holding that the power of the court to do complete justice is not fettered by fault and blame issues. This is a great deliverer and in tune with the need to avoid endless trauma and litigation trails up to the Supreme Court. His views on death penalty are clear, as he held against the death penalty in 2 cases which involved rape and murder, while he was also clear on duly regarding persuasive views of other judges on such matters. I think the Honorable Chief Justice deeply perceived that institutional integrity is also built by enhancing the values of truth, relevance, and dialogue as also progressive attainments. It will be difficult for us not to make a mention of and to keep back our deep sense of appreciation of the sagacious court management with the Honorable Chief Justice. All of us, I suppose, are certainly concerned with the daily encounters we have on the fruitful use of our time and the well-done schedules for the day. I go back in memory lane, trying to capture pen pictures of Honorable Chief Justice in his busy days as a counsel handling tax matters on the one hand and criminal cases on the other hand, with ease and a bright, upright, ethically strong, a voice demonstrating clarity laced with convictions. Though I have not developed a close association with him while at the bar, I can recollect my impressions about a strong and appealing voice of a learned and discerning mind. He has remained as an appealing voice of a learned and discerning mind on the bench without any let or hindrance. But this he has done like a quiet flowing river, without any plumb or appearance of pretensions. The Honorable Chief Justice deserves a huge ovation for the sterling qualitative demonstration of stating convictions with social appeal, accompanied by humility that carries persuasions. As I see the auditorium, I watched closely from the beginning. I found that somewhere outside, SCBA would have hung a notice board saying, "House full." The Honorable Chief Justice comprehends his role as a judge of this court as going beyond mere dispute resolution. The fine-tuning of and compromises between conflicting ideologies is not easily done. Just as the Constitution is ideology neutral, but opened up responsibilities of going beyond doctrinal thinking, the Chief Justice understood this and avoided falling into dry debates. All his opinions show that neither no-holds-barred activism nor undue self-restraint were his forte. May I say what the Chief Justice Chandrachud said about Justice H.R. Khanna, that his view must be accepted in reverence, but the strength of his thoughts applies with all equal force to Chief Justice Khanna. I feel personally honored in being called upon to share my reflections about our loving and venerable Chief Justice. I join all of you in wishing him and his family long and cherishable moments of life ahead, and hopefully penning his thoughts on life beyond law, about which he is capable too. As I was holding his ears for a few minutes, I told him perhaps I can suggest a good topic for his book to be written, and I called it, What Did the Constitution Do to Me? The Chief Justice said, perhaps I have other titles too. Good day to you, sir. Thank you so much for being with us.
I request Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Honorable the Chief Justice of India Designate, to kindly address on this occasion.
The Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Srimati Asha Khanna, my sisters and brother judges of the Supreme Court, including the former judges present here, Shri R. Venkatramani, the learned Attorney General for India, Shri Tushar Mehta, the learned Solicitor General, and all other law officers representing the Union of India, Shri Kapil Sibal, President of Supreme Court Bar Association, Ms. Rachna Srivastava, the Vice President, Shri Vikrant Yadav, the Secretary of the SCBA, Shri Vipin Nair, the President of SCORA and all other office bearers of SCORA, the senior advocates present here, the members of the bar, the family members of Chief Justice Khanna, registrars and the staff members of the Supreme Court. I would like to deviate a bit from my route because of the speech of Rachna ji and Kapil ji. At the outset, I express my gratefulness to Kapil ji for the words he has spoken about me. I don't know why did Rachna ji have any apprehensions about what I'm going to do in the next 6 months. At least from the past records, he should not have spoken about it. I always believe that both bar and bench are like two wheels of a golden chariot of institution of justice. Both equally important. You put a spoke in one wheel, the entire chariot comes to a standstill. And it may not be out of place to mention that this function, which is being held in the auditorium, this auditorium was only after the committee consisted of myself and Justice Suryakant recommended that Mr. Pradeep Rai was the vice president. He always used to remember that and speak in his speeches wherever we are present. In absence, he might, it is also the issue of chambers. All of you might be knowing that the issue of chambers was pending for long years. It is only after the intervention of myself and Justice Suryakant, the chambers in the new building could be resolved. So please don't have any apprehensions. I believe in dialogue. My all colleagues will also on the same page. Like the present Chief Justice of India, I also believe in the principle that the Chief Justice of India is only the first amongst equals. And I assure you, on behalf of all my colleagues, that all of us will collectively work together, both the bar and bench, and try to resolve all the issues. Bidding farewell to a Chief Justice is not just a ceremonial concern or occasion. It is a moment to reflect on their contributions, to honor their services, and contemplate the evolving role of the judiciary in safeguarding the rights and liberties of people. It is in this background that we reflect on the distinguished career of Chief Justice Sanjiv Khanna. As everyone knows, he comes from a family deeply rooted in the legal profession and academia. His father served as a judge of the Delhi High Court, and his mother was an academician. However, it is his uncle, Justice Hansraj Khanna, who had the most significant influence on his decision to pursue a career of law. Rachna ji has already referred to his earlier desire to become a chartered accountant, and therefore I will not repeat it. As I said in the court in the morning, that Justice Khanna had very big shoes to fill. They were saying that with great power comes great responsibility. And the same holds true for those who come from a family with a legacy of unwavering commitment to justice. Belonging to such lineage is not just a matter of pride. It carries with it a great responsibility to uphold and carry forward the ideals of justice, integrity, and constitutional values. Justice Sanjiv Khanna began his legal career in 1983 and initially started practice in Tis Hazari district courts and later shifted to Delhi High Court. His areas of specialization has already been told to us by the earlier speakers. His appointment as a judge of Delhi High Court, Justice Sanjiv Khanna brought with him values deeply rooted in the grassroots of the Indian legal system. His years of practice in the district courts had given him a deep understanding of the struggles of the litigants. Notably, his willingness to take up pro bono cases early in his litigation career reflected his resolve to use the law as a tool for public service. These experiences shaped his judicial outlook and reinforced his belief in the transformative power of the Constitution. As a judge of the Supreme Court since 2019, Justice Khanna has delivered several landmark judgments that have significantly shaped Indian constitutional law and explained core. In his judgments, he emphasized personal liberty, public trust, protection of fundamental rights, secularism, among many legal principles, and explained concepts such as the test of proportionality to adjudicate constitutional challenges to any legislation. During his tenure as executive chairman of NALSA, which I succeeded, Justice Sanjiv Khanna placed strong emphasis on the rehabilitation and reintegration of prisoners into society. He was particularly inspired by the artwork produced by prisoners. On the Constitution Day in 2024, a painting painted by an inmate of Tihar jail was presented by Chief Justice to the Prime Minister of India, a powerful gesture symbolizing the potential for transformation and the enduring human spirit behind prison walls. Furthermore, under his leadership, a social campaign titled Restoring the Youth was launched by NALSA, aimed at identifying juveniles who are languishing in prisons. As the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjiv Khanna placed a strong focus on reducing pendency in the courts and promoting greater transparency within the judiciary. Under his leadership, the court took a collective decision to disclose the assets of judges. In pursuance to this, many of the judges of the Supreme Court have voluntarily revealed information about their assets and liabilities, which is an important step towards building public trust. In one of the most remarkable acts of judicial transparency in recent times, the Supreme Court, under Chief Justice of India, Khanna's stewardship, shared full information with the public about the appointment process of judges to the Supreme Court and the High Courts. The Supreme Court also released a tabulated list of names that were considered by the Collegium for judgeship over the past 2.5 years, marking a milestone in opening up the judicial appointment process to the public scrutiny. Chief Justice Khanna also demonstrated firm and principled leadership in addressing instances of judicial misconduct. In two such situations, he acted with discretion and resolve, taking appropriate steps to uphold the dignity of the court while maintaining the confidence and trust of his colleagues. His handling of these sensitive matters reflected both institutional responsibility and personal integrity. Justice Khanna also never shied away from speaking his mind. whether in courtrooms, while addressing staff, or in his interactions with young lawyers. Just a week ago, during his felicitation function organized by SCORA, Justice Khanna candidly remarked that lawyers in India have yet to master the art of drafting concise legal documents in the same spirit of institutional commitment. During a felicitation held by the Supreme Court staff, he reminded them of their duty towards the institution and the importance of maintaining the highest standards of service. But behind his strict and dignified image of a judge lies a humble, kind, and deeply compassionate individual. Justice Khanna is known for treating his staff and law clerks like a family. His interactions are warm and grounded, often filled with gentle humor and light-hearted conversations that come as a pleasant surprise to many who know him only from the bench. His ability to balance firmness in judicial work with warmth in personal relationship speaks volumes about his character. On a personal note, I have learned a great deal from Justice Khanna. I was elected to the Supreme Court a few months after his appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court, and I had the pleasure of sharing a vacation bench during the summer break of 2019. After his appointment as Chief Justice of India, as I said earlier, he actually practiced the principle that the Chief Justice is the first amongst equals. He took active steps in taking his colleagues in confidence in decisions on important issues. Also during the collegium meetings, he paid due regard to the views of his collegium, members of the collegium, as well as the consulting judges. As the Chief Justice, Justice Khanna initiated the practice of interacting with candidates under consideration for judgeship, which we also propose to continue. Thus, his conduct has been a reminder that leadership in the judiciary is not just about delivering judgments, but about upholding values that strengthen public faith in the system. Chief Justice Sanjiv Khanna, within the short period that was available to him, has demonstrated that impact is not measured by the length of time in office, but by the depth of one's contributions. His tenure will be remembered not only for important judicial and administrative strides, but also for the humility with which he carried the responsibilities of the highest judicial office. As it was said by a renowned poet, Dushyant Kumar, and I quote, "सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए." Justice Khanna's tenure was not about creating a spectacle or making noise for the sake of attention. It was about encouraging changes within the judiciary and ensuring that the system not only functions but also evolves. When we gather here to honor Justice Khanna, I would be failing in my duty if I do not mention our Bhabiji Srimati Asha Khanna. It is said that behind every successful man, there is a woman behind it, and I think Asha Bhabi is a true reflection of that rag. She has been a strong pillar behind him. We have had many interactions, though I had resolved it to be said in the evening. He started the concept of retreat, wherein all the judges of the Supreme Court for 2-3 days were just living like one family. That brought us the fraternity, the unity among the judges, wherein we could all reflect upon and think something for the betterment of the institution. I am greatly thankful to him for such an initiative, and both he and Justice Khanna and Bhabiji in that retreat were just like heads of our family. I, on this occasion, on behalf of all of us, wish a very long, healthy life to him, to Asha Bhabi and members of all his family. His family members are present here, Uday, Tavishi, Parul, and Ravish, all of them there. Uday is already a settled lawyer. All of his children are settled. And as he has disclosed, I also said in the Skora function that he will be more social tomorrow onwards. And he will also be available. He has also stated that he will be available for advice and therefore I see it as an indication of a beginning of the new innings. As I said in the morning, I wish him that his third innings would be equally illustrious and wonderful as his earlier two innings. Thank you very much.
I now request Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, to kindly address the gathering. Okay. Mr. R. Venkatramani, Landed Attorney General for India, has brought some books. May I request Honorable Mr. Justice Khanna to kindly address? Thank you.
Namaskar and a very good evening. Mr. Justice B.R. Gawai, Judge and Chief Justice of India Designate, esteemed colleagues, my retired judges who joined this occasion, which is special for me, thank you. Mr. R. Venkatramani, the Attorney General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General, Additional Solicitor Generals, Mr. Kapil Sibal, the President of Supreme Court Bar Association, Rachna Srivastav, Vikrant Yadav, members of the bar, including senior advocates and the members of the registry. I begin with a saying, often a person's true character is revealed in not what they say about themselves, but in what they choose to leave unsaid. I believe there's some truth in it, but this was not the only reason why I didn't speak about myself as a judge. The reason was reverence to the office. But now, as I stand here at the cusp of my retirement, if you permit me, I like to speak about my life and my journey. This is certainly an emotional moment for me. Having served on the bench for 20 years, I've attended many farewells. The sentiment commonly expressed on such occasions is that of mixed feeling, a bittersweet moment. Let me confess, I have no mixed feelings. I'm simply happy. I also feel blessed to have retired as the Chief Justice of India. For me, becoming a judge of the High Court itself was a dream come true. My earliest memories of the judiciary are shaped by watching my father's journey, from his time as a civil judge to his elevation as a judge of the Delhi High Court. Those memories stay with me and will remain with me forever. I was enrolled as an advocate at the age of 23, and at the age of 45, I had the honor of being elevated to the bench as a judge of the Delhi High Court. But the path wasn't easy. Between 2000 and 2005, I had a share of my stormy seas. But when the moment finally came, my father was no longer there to see it, and his elder brother, who has been my role model, could not share my joy as he was suffering from dementia. However, it is only after donning the robes of the judge that I truly understood the weight of responsibility bestowed on us by the Constitution and the people of this country. I also came to understand how demanding and exhausting judgeship can be. Within 3 months of my elevation, from September to December 2005, I was given a very heavy board, often hearing between 75 to 100 matters a day. I ended that period by reserving nearly 100 judgments. In January, I presided over the company court, which came with a slightly lesser board, and the judgments began rolling out. Again, from 2010 to 2017, by way of rotation, I presided over a bench that decided murder appeals and income tax appeals, the most unpopular rosters in the Delhi High Court. But I never saw it as a burden, and to my benefit, it gave me a deep and necessary connection with the kind of work that got me recognition in the Supreme Court of India. Then came my highest honor, one I neither pursued nor expected. At 59, I was called to serve as judge of the Supreme Court of India, and at 64, I had the privilege of taking the oath as the Chief Justice of India. Now at 65, as I prepare to retire, I do so with gratitude, reflection, and yes, with a sense of satisfaction. Age will see me off as a judge, and I can say this, I'm equally eager to get rid of the judge in me. This morning, as the robes were hung for the final time, the weight of responsibility lifted from my shoulders, and quite honestly, I felt a sense of bliss. In truth, it feels like a beginning of a new life, a chance to reclaim time, and to be just without constant pull of duty and long hours of work from before sunrise to well past sunset. I've been now working as a lawyer and then as a judge for 42 years, which I suspect must be close to the average age of this audience today. These 40 years and early years have been shaped by contribution by many. My parents lived a life of simplicity and moral uprightness, something they instilled in us very early on. Even today, they remain my moral compass. My mother was a professor in Hindi literature at the Lady Shri Ram College. My father, one could hardly see him. He was most often found in his paper books, with his paper books. Yes, my mother never wanted me to become a lawyer. She cautioned me, it's not an easy profession. Simplicity and straight talk do not always thrive. You'll never make a living. I must admit, as a lawyer, I was never commercially minded. However, in retrospect, judgeship and legal profession has perhaps given me more than I deserved. That I could accomplish something without having to change myself is the credit and strength of our system. My mother will be happy and pleased that my decision was right. As an advocate, I had to start from scratch. While my father and uncle were strong influences, they never introduced me to seniors, nor did they steer work in my direction. I had to wait for 17 years before I could have half a chamber to myself. Initially, it was late Mr. Vikramjit Nair who extended me courtesy of sharing his chamber. That chamber was unlike the ones you see today. It was bare bones, no air conditioner, no telephone, just a table, a chair, and a fan. But this was a big boon for me. However, my first few months at the district courts and handling several cases in the fora gave me valuable experience across vast and distinct fields. It connected me to the common man. This proved immensely helpful during my tenure as a judge. Delhi High Court and the district courts had judges of impeccable integrity, knowledge, and razor-sharp intellect. I was particularly influenced by Justice Ranganathan, Justice Awadh Bihari Rotke, Justice Rajendra Sachar, Justice G.C. Jain. Later, I had the privilege to appear and argue cases before Justice R.C. Rehoti, Justice S.P. Sinha, and Justice Ajit Prasad. Let me put it, as a judge, the law arrives in all its breadth. The roster shifts, the matters change, and one is expected to come up to the speed quickly, thoroughly, and completely. It's an exacting exercise. No other work can give you this experience and satisfaction. Let me share 3 important experiences which I've had as a judge. What moved me most in the Delhi High Court was my interaction with the young boys and girls and their families in the habeas corpus petitions. I saw these courageous young citizens challenging societal norms to choose who they would like to live with. Often their families eventually accepted their life choices. To make them feel at ease, I avoided the adversarial setting of the courtroom. Instead, legal aid counsels would meet them over a cup of tea in my chamber to offer comfort and remind them they were not alone. These moments gave me immense hope in the justice delivery system's potential, not just to resolve conflicts and disputes, but to drive social change and affirm human dignity. My second experience was as the chairperson of NALSA, which proved very impactful. I interacted with jail inmates, including under trials, socially conscious police officers, committed paralegal volunteers, and villagers who were aware of their rights. India is unique in that legal aid is not a privilege but a right given by law. It is extended not only to the accused but also to victims, family, and others in need. While our legal aid framework is strong, we need more advocates to embrace their core of duty by offering pro bono services to the needy. The third aspect which impacted me was the diverse schools of thought at the Supreme Court. Polyvocality, despite its problems, ensures varied presentations across multiple benches, acknowledges an array of perspectives within the judicial system. Though our voices may differ, there is harmony across the benches that shape the law. It enables the court to be more accessible and responsive towards litigants' needs who come from corners of the country. During my tenure, I have heard myself being described as by the book judge, a conservative one when it comes to giving relief. To ask myself honestly if there is a truth in this or something else or some correction is required, I analyzed. I turned to data and the nature of cases in which I was strict. As a judge hearing criminal appeals in the High Court, I found that I have overturned conviction in about 30 to 35% of cases, which figure was almost the same as any other bench. The difference was acquittals were more in cases argued by amicus than those argued by the senior counsels. Same is true of the income tax matters, as I never allowed technicalities of law to become a scruple for doing justice. For instance, I took a firm stand in cases involving circular transactions through shell companies, where dubious tactics were clearly at play. As my law clerks remind me, one of my often repeated phrases, let's not make a hyper-technical view. Our job as judges is to apply law in full measure. It is equally our duty to recognize that when law gives flexibility, to ensure that the right and wrong are dealt with appropriately. We often warn ourselves against dangers of bias, but we rarely do speak in the quiet harm caused when a judge lacks psychological strength. A judge's job is not to dominate the courtroom, but neither is it to surrender. To give a lawyer a fair hearing without fear, favor, or prejudice is a sacred responsibility. And beyond competence, a judge must possess an inner calm, mental resilience, and ability to remain unruffled, even in face of gravest provocation. As I step down from the bench, I like to speak about something which bothers me: truth deficit in our profession. As a judge, above all, is a seeker of truth. Mahatma Gandhi believed that truth is God, not just in spiritual sense, but as an ideal to strive for. As truth is just not a fact, it is a legal force. And yet we come across cases of concealment and even deliberate misstatement of facts. I believe this stems from a mistaken belief that unless some padding is introduced in the evidence, a case would not succeed. This mindset is not only wrong, but it does not work. In fact, it complicates the process, making the court's job significantly harder. Because behind every falsehood, we are forced to dig deeper and longer to uncover the truth. Today, we are also witnessing a sea change in the legal profession. The courtroom dynamics are shifting from being driven by oratory skills to being shaped by subject matter expertise. As preparation standards rise, it is essential for the bar to focus on becoming domain experts. The bar should also make a conscious effort to explore fora of alternate dispute resolution mechanisms like mediation. The Supreme Court has made great strides in increasing the number of mediators in the country, as well providing training to the mediators. The day is not far when mediation will be chosen over litigation as a default mode of dispute resolution. Mediation is just not settling disputes. It is about finding solutions that meet the needs and interests of the parties involved. I'd just like to share one aspect before I conclude, and that is one goal which I've been able to partially achieve. For the first time in several years, we have achieved a case clearance ratio of more than 100%, reaching 106%. In simple terms, the Supreme Court disposed of more cases than they were filed, allowing us to reduce the backlog for the first time. I must thank all my colleagues and the members of the bar, without whose cooperation this could not have happened. I must also thank the officers working in the registry who ensured that we were able to implement many of the schemes which were launched, including the revamping of Section 1B. I have a lot of people to thank for shaping my journey, as I said before, but now I come to my colleagues. I just took out a list of the judges with whom I had occasion and privilege to sit with, and the list goes to 45. I cannot possibly take everybody's names, but I'm really indebted to each one who I have sat with for their support and acting as a check and balance. When we engage in thoughtful debates in chambers, or when we see a case completely differently, that is when I learn the most. What makes our court special isn't that we are able to think alike, it is that we don't. Each one of us brings something different to the table. Now, Justice Bhushan Gawai, my dear friend, to whom I'm passing the baton, there is something about Justice Gawai's style which I've always admired. He's remarkably approachable and invariably has something figured out. No fuss, no complications, he keeps it simple. His brilliance comes without pomp and show. It's just who he is. The court wouldn't be in better hands. Congratulations, Justice Gavai. We are all looking forward to your innings. Moving on, my team in my courtroom and the residential office. In my residential office in my house, I was ably assisted by my PPS, Kamesh, Chetan, Vipin, Ashish, and Umesh. At the courtroom, I was assisted by Mr. R.S. Narayanan, Deepak, Babita, and Sanjay. My chauffeurs, Subhash and Sachin. My residential staff, including Surinder Yadav, Nandaram, Surinder Kumar, Rajesh, Vinod, Shiv, Mithilesh, Ramesh, Raman, Abuja, Rai Singh, Anuj, and Sahil. My PSOs, Dinesh, Ajay, and Vinay. To my law clerks who have worked with me in the Supreme Court, Mansi, Shreyas, Nitin, Rajat, Pranav, Ayush, Ananya, Sambhav, Aditya, and Harni. To my current set of law clerks, Sayan, Prithviraj, Nayanka, and Roshni. I take great pride in the fact that all of them are first-generation lawyers. It is my law clerks who selected the next batch of the law clerks. Their sincerity, hard work, and fresh thinking have been great support to me, and I wish them all the best in their careers ahead. My family, to whom I have not been able to give time they deserved, Asha, Parul, Ravish, Uday, Tavishi, and my brother and my sister-in-law, Mahem and Rupali, you have been my constant support, the quiet strength behind me. While I was caught up in the demands of the profession, you stood with me with patience and understanding. As I turn the page, I look forward to spending more times with you. I must admit, I am not as poetic as the president of the Supreme Court Bar Association. But as I take your leave, I'd like to read out a few lines which I penned down with the help of my law clerks. It's not mine alone. There is a house built of red sandstone, a central dome and high ceilings, quiet libraries and bustling canteens, tense debates, prayers, and reliefs. This is a place we call the Supreme Court. This is a place where justice finds a home. Thank you and Jai Hind.
I now request Mr. Arijit Prasad, Senior Member Executive, Supreme Court Bar Association, to kindly read out the message written by Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, for the members of the bar.
Namaskar. The Honorable the Chief Justice, the Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, distinguished guests and friends. It's my proud privilege to read out the message of the Honorable the Chief Justice to the members of the Supreme Court Bar Association. I quote, "Dear members of the bar, I write this message with a deep sense of gratitude. As the head of the judicial family, I have come to understand that the progress of justice is much like the movement of a chariot. It may be guided by the hand of one, but its momentum depends on the strength and stability of its wheels. As the saying goes, the chariot may be controlled by one, but it moves only on the strength of its wheels. This metaphor holds specially true in our constitutional scheme, where the judiciary functions as one of the three co-equal branches of democracy. In that structure, the bar is not only a participant, but an essential component of the justice delivery system. Without a vigilant and engaged bar, the judiciary cannot fulfill its constitutional mandate. The strength and character of the bar directly influences the integrity, accessibility, and effectiveness of our courts. In that sense, the bar is not a spectator to justice, it's a co-creator. Too often, we underestimate the foundational role that just and fair dispute resolution plays in the life of a nation. Its impact reaches far beyond the courtroom. It is essential to preserving social harmony, nurturing public trust, and enabling the ease of doing business. A system that resolves dispute with clarity, consistency, and integrity fosters stability, encourages participation, and reinforces the rule of law. In this effort, the bar plays an indispensable role. Its strength lies not only in its advocacy, but in its enduring qualities: diligence, intellectual discipline, and an unwavering commitment to fairness. These qualities are not confined to individuals. They are embedded in the institutional memory and culture of the bar. They have sustained the courts and carried forward the promise of justice through times of change and challenge. Over the last 75 years, the Supreme Court has witnessed significant transformation in the diversity of issues brought before it and the tools and technology it now employs. The scale, complexity, and the responsibility of the courts have all grown. Yet, through this evolution, the core remains intact. The constitutional values that guide us have become more deeply embedded in the fabric of our democracy. The increasing number of cases coming before this court across a wide spectrum from constitutional interpretation to service-related issues in itself a reflection of growing legal consciousness and public faith in judicial remedies. Looking ahead, I believe that we are entering a decade of change, one that calls for adaptation, innovation, and a renewed sense of purpose from the bar. In a legal and regulatory environment that is becoming more complex and interdisciplinary, the bar must continue to evolve. The advocates of tomorrow must combine clarity of speech with clarity of thought, courtroom presence with depth of knowledge. There is a clear need to shift focus from oratory to domain expertise, especially as new avenues such as mediation, legal aid, and regulatory litigation come to the forefront of legal practice. In this journey, the increasing number of designated senior advocates is encouraging. It opens up meaningful pathways for mentorship, specialization, and broader access to justice, especially for those who come to court without the strength of established networks or resources. A profession that nurtures its young and supports those at the margins remain true to its highest calling. A responsive and future-ready justice system cannot be built from the top down. It must be nurtured from within, through shared responsibility and the commitment of every participant. In this spirit, I urge the bar to focus on 4 critical areas that can shape the future of justice delivery. Simplifying legal language, moving away from legalese towards clarity that empowers litigants and the public, ensuring truth as a core value in legal practice, ensuring that advocacy is grounded in factual integrity and an unwavering commitment to truth, addressing pendency and curbing the culture of adjournments to restore public faith in timely justice, containing the cost of litigation so that justice remains within the reach for all, not just the privileged few. These issues require sustained internal discourse within the bar. I would also take this opportunity to acknowledge a unique and often underappreciated strength of the Supreme Court, its diversity. Geographical, linguistic, ideological, and generational diversity is not a challenge to overcome, but a wellspring of strength. The bar is a melting pot of traditions, styles, and legal philosophies. This pluralism fosters not only jurisprudential growth, but also practical wisdom, enriched by the lived realities of courts across the length and breadth of our country. Thank you for your trust, scrutiny, and companionship in the shared constitutional journey. The court and the bar may play different roles, but they serve the same purpose. May the bar always remain the torchbearer of justice, fearless in speech, fair in conduct, and unwavering in its duty to the Republic. Jai Hind, unquote. I assure His Lordships that the Honorable Chief Justice, that the members of the bar would strive to follow the path as shown by His Lordships. I am grateful for this opportunity. Jai Hind.
Thank you. To present memento on behalf of Supreme Court Bar Association to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, I request Mr. Kapil Sibal, Ms. Rachna Srivastava, President and Vice President, along with other office bearers and Executive Committee members, to kindly come on the dais and join us. I request Mr. Sanjay Noli, Senior Member, Executive Supreme Court Bar Association, to give his vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikram. Ladies and gentlemen, we are deeply grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, the Chief Justice of India, for gracefully accepting our invitation. Your leadership, wisdom, and unwavering commitment to the legal profession have been a guiding light to all of us. We are equally privileged to have with us Madam Srimati Asha Khanna, the wife of Chief Justice of India, his two children, Uday, who's a practicing lawyer of the Supreme Court, his wife, Tavishi Khanna, who's serving with the Indian Navy, his daughter, Parul, along with his son-in-law, Mr. Ravish. We also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Mahim Khanna, who's online with us, from Australia, who's the younger brother of the Honorable Chief Justice. All the support and understanding have been instrumental in the remarkable journey of the Chief Justice. We thank all of them for gracing this occasion. It is with great respect that we thank Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, the Honorable Chief Justice of India Designate, for kindly accepting the invitation to preside over this function. Your presence not only honors this event, but also symbolizes the commitment and the continuity of wisdom and integrity that the Supreme Court stands for. All of us wishing you a great tenure as a 52nd Chief Justice of India, sir. A heartfelt thanks to all the honorable judges of the Supreme Court and the former judges of this honorable court. We are also grateful for the presence of Mr. R. Venkatramani, the learned Attorney General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, the learned Solicitor General of India, and all the other learned law officers. We also acknowledge and appreciate the presence of Mr. Manan Mishra, the Bar Council Chairman, and Mr. Apurva Sharma, the Executive Chairman, and the other members of the Bar Council of India. Our sincere thanks to all the learned senior counsels. A special note of gratitude to Mr. P.H. Parekh, a 6-time president, and all the other former presidents of the SCBA. We also extend our thanks to Mr. Vipin Nair, the President Amit Sharma, and Nikhil Jain, and the other executive members of the SCORA. Our sincere thanks to the learned Secretary General, the learned registrars of the Supreme Court, the registry, and the SCBA staff, without whom the seamless coordination and success of today's function would not have been possible. Our sincere thanks to the Deputy Commissioner of Police, the Supreme Court Secretary personnel, and all the staff to ensure the safe and smooth conduct of such events. A special thanks to the electronic and the print media for making this event known and accessible to a larger audience, and for a continued collaboration with the legal community. Lastly, I want to thank all the attendees for your presence here today, for making this occasion truly special. On behalf of the entire Supreme Court Bar Association, I wish the Honorable Chief Justice of India all the very best for your future. Sir, may this next chapter of life be as well crafted as the judgments. Thank you one and all. I request all of you all to please join us for high to the ground floor.